burglars wanted everything in that store, and they didn't want to pay for it. They just couldn't keep them out. So it was a weekly basis. They were burglarizing community TV. And finally, I think it was the insurance companies got tired of paying for all the stuff that they were stealing, so they bought this device that you guys have. And I actually responded to a burglary at the location and saw the place filled with smoke. And I couldn't believe it. And the burglars, they didn't go in. They didn't go in the business.
They're too scared to go in, eh? When that fog started up?
When that fog started up, they just didn't go in. They broke through the door. They drove a car through the door. And when they saw the smoke, they took off. They left.
Oh, wow.
Do you think it was the same guys who have been breaking into?
It was the same guys because we have them on video.
Yeah. Did they come back again ever?
They never came back, and that's been 3 years. Now, they were breaking into that place almost monthly. It's a high-end TV place that sells really expensive flat screens. And Palm Beach Gardens is a very affluent area.
These are the 50-inch TVs, right? The Sonys and the...
Very high-end, expensive things. I mean, we have a housing development where the houses start at $7 million. And so it's a very affluent community, and so they can afford to buy all the good stuff.
Yeah.
And so they were just stealing that place blind all the time, and they haven't been back since.
Now, use the audio.
Good product.
Now, do you know anything about the cleanup of the place after the fog was deployed? Do you know if you had any issues with residue or anything like that?
From my understanding, what I was told was that there was no cleanup.
Yeah, which is the way it should be.
There was no cleanup.
Yeah, the flash fog is intended to not have any issues with afterwards.
Right.
Essentially, it just deploys and everything.
That was the neat thing about it, because once all the smoke was gone, the place was clear.
Yeah.
The glass company came in and replaced the doors.
Yeah.
That was it.
Now, in your years in the force, how many smash and grabs do you figure you saw?
Well, I retired in September after 30 years in law enforcement. My entire 30 years has been as a road patrol officer, traffic officer, or my last 5 years was as in charge of the DUI task force. So out of 30 years, 20 years of it was at night.
Yeah.
So I saw lots of smash and grabs. Hundreds and hundreds of smash and grabs. Maybe thousands. Those lights were going in that community TV too. They have the lights too.
Yeah.
The strobe makes a big difference in the shock and the effect of the fog.
Yeah.
Really big difference.
What was the comment from the owner of the store after the event? Did you
I don't remember his name, but I've seen him a million times because the place has been hit so many times. But he was so happy that there was nothing missing.
Yeah.
He said, you know what, this is going to make it so easy. I can call the glass company. In an hour, that glass will be replaced.
Yeah.
And I can open up in the morning at 9 o'clock like always, and my customers won't even know. And he was extremely happy.
The pattern that we see, this is actually a pretty classical case that we see over and over. There's a couple of things I want to point out. First is that these guys were being visited over and over. That's a pattern we see. Once you're being hit once, you will become a victim.
Yeah, they see you as an easy mark.
Yeah, it almost becomes personal. We had it was a car wash, and they were hitting for the coins, and they would use a sledgehammer and coming in. These guys, until they got our system, they were hit, I think it was 5 times. And it was a cat and mouse. It was like spy versus spy.
Yeah.
And the flash fog finally put an end to it. But it was personal. It was really personal between the two of them. It was
I'll tell you, the owner, before the owner got this system, he was spending the night in his community TV van
with a gun,
sleeping in the van with a shotgun, trying to catch these guys, and he did that for months and months and months, and never caught them. And then he'd go. They must have checked the van or something, because as soon as he'd go home and there was nobody around, they'd get hit. And so it was really personal with him.